Thanks to all of you who have come here to this channel to learn good English. The most important skill for learning communication is to listen and understand. Suppose somebody is speaking English and you're not able to follow it, then it might be because you do not know the expressions which they are using. Therefore, you need to improve those aspects which are stopping you from understanding the other person. Many of you have written in the comment box that you can understand if somebody speaks slowly, but in normal pace conversation, you have problems. The reason is because it might be that you do not know certain expressions. This video tells you about the common idioms which people use when they are speaking. These are very often used in your conversation, in your exchanges, speaking and also writing. When you read a book, you will come across them. When you listen to some podcast or some news, you might come across them. If you do not know them, then your English is not good because you are not able to understand. This makes you feel very depressed. It demotivates you. It makes you feel that you can never learn this language. But that's not true. We have to go in the right direction, following a right method and taking the right kind of steps. This video will help you to make your idioms comfortable to use and to understand. The idioms are given with their meanings and sentences. Now you will have a question in your mind. What is an idiom? An idiom is a group of words, a phrase, which means more than its dictionary meaning. If you look at the dictionary, you will find each of the words has a different meaning. But when you put them all together, that is not the meaning which remains. It is a meaning which is beyond the literal meaning. Literal means dictionary meaning. It is much more than that. So you put a few words together and they make some other meaning. They have a hidden meaning. That is what an idiom is. Using idioms in your speech will also be very helpful for you because that is impressive. It shows that you know English well. And that is why practicing these simple idioms, I've just given you very simple ones, will make your English much better. Your fluency, your confidence, your ability to understand anybody and anything, that is why idioms are important. Let us now see this list of idioms and how you will make use of them, how to make sentences when you speak or when you write. Here you see three idioms. The first one is bad blood. Its meaning, angry feeling. There is a sentence which shows you how it can be used. There seems to be a lot of bad blood between the brothers after their father's death. Suppose they are quarreling over property, etc., then you say bad blood. The next idiom, in a body. In a body means together. The protesters marched out of the factory gates in a body. You can also say, all of us approached the boss in a body. That means together, all of you went to meet the boss. The third one is back to the wall. Back to the wall means in a difficult situation where you cannot move anywhere. That is you can understand the literal meaning. The person whose back is to the wall cannot dictate terms. Suppose you want to insist that I want to do only this and nothing else. But if you are in a difficult position, you cannot say that. Now we have some more idioms. To make no bones about. As I told you, if you look at the dictionary, you will not get the meaning of each word to mean finally what the meaning is. Idioms have a meaning which is in addition to what the literal meaning is. To make no bones about is to speak frankly, to say exactly what you want, not hesitate, even if it is unpleasant or awkward. Suppose you want to say something which is not very nice, but still you speak it out completely. The shareholders made no bones about the disapproval of the company policy. The shareholders get money from the shares. Therefore, they cannot be polite. They cannot say something which the company is doing. If they don't like it, they have to make no bones about it. Up to the eyes means very busy. The manager was up to his eyes in work. Here is a simple sentence, you can easily follow it. Use these idioms to make your English better. You can speak fluently, confidently, with a lot of, you know, variety in your expressions. Then we have face value. Face value is to accept or believe something to be true without examining it. Suppose you trust a person and that person tells you something, then you take it on the face value. The teacher took her favorite student's excuse at face value. The teacher did not check up whether the student was telling the truth. To have an upper hand means to have an advantage. Due to his age and experience, he always had an upper hand over the other workers. That is, he had an advantage because he was older and he was more experienced. To keep one's head, that means to keep calm, not to get stressed out or not to get flustered. He is a good doctor because he keeps his head in emergencies. Now you can see how clearly the idiom is used. To put some words into someone's mouth, that is, to misinterpret or to misquote. You can say that, don't try to put words into my mouth because that is not what I mean. The idiom cut corners is used when someone does something badly to save time and money. They cut corners while constructing the bridge, which was the reason behind the bridge collapse. Next we have to poke one's nose into, that is to interfere. Though he has taken voluntary retirement, he comes to the office every day to poke his nose into his successor's business. The next idiom is to bite someone's nose off. That is to speak angrily. The sentence, when I asked for leave, my boss bit my nose off. The idiom to pay through one's nose means to pay more than one can afford. The gambler lost all his assets and had to pay through his nose to clear his debts. The next idiom, see eye to eye, means to agree. The parents did not see eye to eye with their young daughter. The daughter was saying something, the parents did not agree. That is, see eye to eye. Next we have armed to the teeth. That is, fully prepared. He came to the meeting armed to the teeth with data. He brought all the information. That is what armed to the teeth means. Now we have the idiom toe the line. That is to agree with. All the members of the party had to toe the line of the leader. Whatever the leader said, they had to agree. That is what toe the line is. To cry wolf. There is a story which I already told you in one of the videos. You can go back and check, where the young boy says wolf every day. Everybody comes to help him. There is no wolf. Finally, when he really raises the alarm, when the wolf is there, nobody comes to help. So from that story, we get an idiom. To raise a false alarm. To shout for help when you actually don't need help. That small company has cried wolf too often to gain any sympathy from others. Now we have the idiom at a snail's pace. That is very slow. Snail is an animal, it moves very slowly. So from that, this comes. The negotiation seems to be progressing at a snail's pace. Negotiation, and when two people or two parties are trying to come to an understanding, they are bargaining with each other. That is a negotiation. So it is going at a snail's pace. That means none of the two are agreeing to whatever is being said. The idiom apple of one's eye refers to a favorite. Usually a person you love, etc., you can use the idiom apple of one's eye. In your conversation, you can certainly talk about apple of somebody's eye when you're referring to a person. The newborn child was the apple of everyone's eye. People were waiting eagerly for the child. So when the child was born, the child became the favorite. Next idiom is to sugarcoat. Usually what we do, we use a term, the sugar-coated pill. That means something which is very bitter, and then you surround it by sugar so that you don't feel that it is terrible. So here, to sugarcoat is make something difficult sound pleasant. Something which is terrible, you want to make it sound good. She tried to sugarcoat the news of the company closing down by announcing a bonus. So she's giving everyone some money and saying, okay, the company is closing down. But giving the bonus is like the sugarcoat. Next you have miss the boat. That is to lose an opportunity. Usually when travel was through the rivers, if you missed one boat, then the next boat might come after a long time. So that concept of missing the boat, you can't go across unless there is a boat. Suppose it is on the road, you can walk, or you can run, or you can wait for the next bus or so. But in a river or in a place where you have to go by water using a boat, you cannot really use anything else. So lose an opportunity is what we use. The idiom miss a boat is used like that. She forgot to apply for the job before the last date, and thus she missed the boat. She missed the boat for applying for the job or getting employment. Monkey business is an idiom which we often hear in conversations. Somebody who's doing something mischievous, somebody who's doing something which he or she should not do. That is monkey business. So the meaning given here, as you can see, is mischievous tricks. The manager suspected some monkey business
in the accounts and ordered an investigation. That means somebody is stealing money. So that is where monkey business comes in. Then you have the next one, a lion's share. That is the largest part. The millionaire willed a lion's share of his property to charitable institutions. Next, you have cock and bull story. That is an absurd story. That means something which is very difficult to believe. That is where we use very often, somebody says something and you cannot believe it. So you say, oh, that's a cock and bull story. That way you can use it in your conversation, in your exchanges with people. You want to say politely that, I don't believe you. Then you can say, that is a cock and bull story. Here we have an example. The salesman told a cock and bull story to explain his poor performance. Suppose the manager is asking the salesman that why haven't you made more sales? Why haven't you got us better business? Then the salesman tells a story which the manager does not believe. He tells a story which is impossible to believe. Then that's an absurd story. That's a story which we can call a cock and bull story. In this way, when we use idioms when in speaking, it becomes much clearer. In a brief span of time, in a short phrase, we can say much more than what we want to say. And that is where idioms are so useful. This is the last of our slides of idioms, the last three of them. These idioms also are very commonly used, and you can use them from now on when you are speaking to someone. Or if someone uses them, you will not have a difficulty in understanding these idioms. That is the benefit of learning idioms. Once you learn idioms, you become very confident. You are able to use English much better because you are aware of these idioms. Let the cat out of the bag. This also is a very common idiom, very often used. This is to reveal a secret by mistake. That is the meaning. Somebody gives out a secret when you are not supposed to say it. Somebody is talking and suddenly something comes out which is not supposed to be told. That is, let the cat out of the bag. The young boy let the cat out of the bag and told the teacher that they had gone to the cinema. Now, the boy was not supposed to say that they had gone to the cinema, but he revealed that secret. Then you have the next idiom, chicken feed. Chicken feed is a small amount of money. Suppose somebody offers you by saying that I will buy this from you and gives you a small amount of money. Then you say, oh, this is chicken feed. I can't give you this place for that amount of money. That is how chicken feed is used. Again, very often in conversation, you might find people using chicken feed. Then if you don't know the idiom, you cannot understand. You feel flustered. You feel, oh, I don't know what they mean. You look around for some chicken, for some birds, and you look around for some food of the chicken. Then, is there any food which the chicken eat? But that's not what the meaning is. The meaning is it is a small amount of money. Now look at the sentence. The pocket money the father gave looked like chicken feed to the teenage son. So the teenage son wanted a better amount of money as pocket money. They have lots of things to spend on these days. It's a materialistic world. So the pocket money was not enough. The child thought it is only chicken feed. Now, the last of the idioms, eagle eye. Eagle eye is to look carefully. Eagle is a bird which can see at a long distance and it has a very sharp eye. So, eagle eye is an idiom which we use, a careful or close watch. That is how you use the word eagle eye. When I was doing the work, the boss came with an eagle eye to check everything which I was doing. So you have that usage of eagle eye. Now look at the sentence which is here. The students found it difficult to copy from each other under the eagle eye of their teacher. So this is an examination hall where the teacher is keeping a close watch on everyone. So they could not copy, which of course they shouldn't do, but there is always a temptation. So in this way, you find that these idioms are all what you might hear being spoken when you listen or when you read. These idioms might come in whatever you listen to or whatever you read. Then you won't have difficulty in understanding the passage if you know the idioms. Also, suppose you want to use the idioms. Instead of putting your language in a very boring, in a very straight manner, you use idioms to color your language, to make your language more interesting. Your conversation becomes better and more impressive, more interesting when you use idioms. So learn them carefully, use them often, and become better and better in your English usage. All the best and thank you.